Brought to you by Dog Claw Products.
Now that this is organized, out of my way, I'm going to peel it down, just work on the front end, put the front end back together, then I'll set the front end here, work with the rear end, and just strategically go through the car section by section.
Put it down on the west side, yeah.
But all these little screws, you know, they're different sizes screws, so you want to put them kind of back where they belong or back in their homes. The west side till I die. Little Kurdish march for y'all.
West side till I die.
All right, here we are down to just the front differential. Crank into this for you guys, and then we'll get to cleaning it out and putting some fluid in there. The little bearings on there are really tough to get off, especially if they've been on there for 6 months and you haven't been taking care of your car like me. So I just take a pair of wire cutters and gently push in there, in between there, and squeeze, and then that'll put pressure, and it should make it a little bit easier for you to pop those off so you're not prying with the screwdriver like I was trying to do. That just makes it a little bit easier. Take my little dental tool here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. If you're familiar with A-scale stuff, you're going to have no problem with this car. But it is four-wheel drive. One thing about four-wheel drive cars is they do take a lot of maintenance. You've got twice as many diffs. Here I'm working on one, and it's obviously kind of an intricate thing. And it takes some time and patience. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and use some carburetor cleaner. I'm just going to go ahead and just spray everything down, wipe everything, get all this grease off because I'm going to put that silicone diff fluid in there. And one last thing I want to talk about real quick was the tools that I've been using. Alright guys, so now what we're going to do is put this diff back together. Rubber gloves. You're going to need them for this one. This shit's nasty. I'm not even joking. Here's what we're going to use. Mugen Super Silicone Diff Fluid. Probably way overpriced. 100,000. Go ahead and put a glob right in the middle there. Right on that main gear. Trying to keep this stuff off of everything but what you want it on, because it's nasty. I will tell you this, 10 scale is easier to work on. Another dab of diff fluid on there. And I'm just going to hastily just push this all back down in there, push into the center so those gears get in there. There we go. Now when you turn it, the gears should spin. I'm turning it, the gears will spin. They're locked in now. So And then we're just going to put the cap on. It kind of like locks in, kind of like twists and snaps in. Take note of that, I just kind of push and twist. Start screwing them down a little bit at a time, each one, so it seals properly. As you're doing that, you should turn the diff and make sure it's working. You know, because if you don't want to tighten it down with the gears not aligned, you might bend something. Moreover, it's just not going to work. So now you feel the diff, and it's a lot harder, well, smoother for one, and it's not all just jangling around in there. We're going to go ahead and slap this diff together. I've cleaned everything, all inside of here, all inside of here. This is the way the diff goes, front diff. I'm going to go ahead and put some black grease. Just go ahead and coat that up with black grease. And then I go ahead and put a little bead on here as well. You just need a little bit. There you go. I don't think I'm too crazy with it, but okay. Now that you got the grease on there, let's go ahead and snap this puppy back together. I always turn things as I'm putting them back together in order so you make sure everything's turning and snapped into place before you go cranking down on anything. Now this is where you have to be careful with one of these, especially with the smaller cars. I'm just basically going to kind of get these close, and then I'll end up tightening them with this guy. So that's it, guys. The front diff is back together. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the front end of the car, and then slap this all back on there. You don't want to be clamping this thing down on top of the gear there and it not moving freely. Just make sure everything's moving smooth and freely. If it's not, there's something going on there. Rip it all apart and figure it out. Otherwise, if something's dragging on there, you can tear up your motor pretty quickly. So keep that in mind.
The dog claw. Your dog wants one.